It's been a while, it's where I cut my teeth and gained a lot of my earlier views, so it's only right that I come back to the deck periodically in order to rediscover my roots and remember just how fucking good Flickerwisp and friends actually are. You see, all the best decks have a sense of personality. They have characters and creatures that can be anthropomorphized, which is easier to write down on my script than actually say out loud. Look at Death and Taxes. You've got Wisp, who's an absolute lad, able to do anything you need him to. He's like your best man at your wedding, willing to help at a moment's notice, except he has the head of a moth and the arms of a facehugger and makes the mother of the bride feel extremely uncomfortable. Thalia is Bay and looks to fight for fairness and good etiquette in a format full of fast, unfair nonsense. And then of course we have the Lord and Saviour himself, Cat Jesus, a majestic looking puss ready to take a bolt for the sins of everyone's mana bases, but not before enabling strip mines. Remember kids, everyone pays their dues, one land at a time. In order to further illustrate this measure of a good deck, allow me to point to ad nauseum decks in any format really. Try anthropomorphizing ad nauseum itself. I mean, what would it be? A mad scribe scribbling in the corner, unwilling to stop when asked, only doing so when he feels that the time is right to start masturbating furiously and without abandon? Yeah, but he's great fun at parties. Oh, and before we get too carried away, for those that don't know, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I'm the Magic the Gathering content creating equivalent of David Hasselhoff's chest hair. This week's deck looks a little like this. Many people have been asking me what I would play in the Blood Braid Elf metagame if I returned to Death and Taxes, and after playing some games and filling up the list, I'm back on a very similar list to what I was playing in PvTQs and similar previously, only a year or so ago. Of course, as Death and Taxes always does, we're looking to play on two axes. The first is Disruption, where cards like Thalia and Leonin Arbiter look to slow down or at times lock out our opponent completely from playing any magic. The addition of instant speed Flickerwisp off of Aether allows us to further constrict mana in addition to our Ghost Quarters and Field of Ruins. Our second game plan is to outvalue, outgrind, outvalue and outgrind our opponents. The green-white version of Death and Taxes does this better than any other variant thanks to cards like Eternal Witness and Collected Company, which gives us the ability to generate card advantage that isn't just virtual. The deck looks to abuse enter the battlefield effects like Wisps, Splicers, Restos and Eternal Witnesses through our Flicker package, which is Displacer, Resto and Wisp themselves. This allows us to get out of circumstances we have no business winning from and grind out even the grindiest of Jund-esque decks. And before we begin, as always, a huge shout out to my beloved patrons who listen to my salty ramblings when I flood out against Scapeshift for 2 rounds in a row over my Discord server. The largest patrons are scrolling past right now. Without your love and support, I wouldn't be able to dedicate so much time to videos and streams. If you want to get involved, if you want to come on the Discord, if you want to have a say in what I'm doing on the channel and give input, then you can join over on patreon.com/PleasantKenobi. The link's in the description and on the cards on screen now. Even $1 gives far more than your views ever would to support the channel. And of course, this week's video is brought to you by, as always, MTGO traders and Cape Fear Games, who help by providing me with the cards to play these lucid fever dreams. If you want to support the channel in a more indirect way, you can purchase digital cards from traders and physical cards from Cape Fear Games with the discount code GGGetWrecked, no spaces, for 8% off your order. Now, if you'll excuse me, some taxes need to be collected. We keep an absolutely solid hand that has a dork and the ability to turn 2 strip mine our opponent and turn a handful of fetch lands into a game loss. This is the true power of the green-white variant of this deck. A turn 0 leyline from our opponent screams that this is Bogles. Our hand feels pretty good against those Boglins. We lead mana dork and he leads with, surprise surprise, a Boggle. Bogle? Boggle? Bugel? It really doesn't matter how you pronounce it. If you're going to argue about that, then fuck off.
In your questionnaire coming into this tournament, you said, when asked what your least favorite deck was in Modern, you said, I don't want to make it personal.
Yeah, I hate Bogles.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
The time has come, for he has returned. Cat Jesus, show him the light. We slam the Arbiter and strip mine our opponent. He doesn't seem very repentant and not very keen on this line.
Cont.
In his turn, he plays a fetch land and sacks it. Lol. With no lands in play, we deploy a Thalia, which means all of his auras now cost at least 2 mana, and in case you didn't notice, he currently doesn't have any mana. The difference between 0 and 2 at this point is approximately 1,000,000 miles apart. Our opponent takes 1 draw off the top to see what he gets there. Surprisingly enough, he doesn't, and he concedes.
What a lad.
We see a 1-lander that is far, far too risky, especially on the draw. We mulligan to a no-lander, then go down to 5. Magic giveth, and magic taketh away. As far as 5s go, this hand is pretty solid. We've got Collected Company and Vex Sage, which could just win us the game. I scry land at the top and get ready for the first Boglin. On his mulligan to 6, he plays a turn 1 Boglin. On the upside, he fetch and shocked, which means we are technically winning if you take the life totals into account. We leave with Aether Vial, and he puts some pants on his Boggle and slams in for 5, trampling first strike damage. Ouch. We draw 2 blockers for the price of 1, which is great if we get to take the Rancor trousers off his Boggle with Vex Age. We have to pray he has no Shatner's Baboon or Daybreak Coronet. We play a tap land and pass back, another Ethereal Armor, which is not ideal, but is probably one of the better draws for us. It means that we might get to lay down blockers as we wait for Coco to find us a way back into this game. He hits us for 9, then plays a core Belly Dancer. Why did he secret it like this? No one knows, not even him. He doesn't even know. We untap, shock ourselves and get ready to clench. We plan to blow up the Rancor and block this turn, giving us 2 3-drops next turn to get back into the game if we continue to dodge flying enchantments. But then I simply clicked the wrong enchantment with a Vexade's trigger, literally just clicked the wrong one, and it still has trample and still has unboiled lethal. Yeah, a lot of pain, anguish and swearing was done as I realised my mistake. We're now dead on board, literally fucking dead.
Hi, I'm a Boglin. Me and my buddies want to be your friend, right guys? Right.
I tried to get too tilted and salty with myself. It was a million to 5 anyway, although the way you offset the bad luck is to actually play at a semi-competent level. This is something I'm still trying to get into the habit of. Magic is hard, and I'm fucking stupid. We keep a solid hand that could do with drawing one more white source, which of course is famous last words. We lead with the Vial and he leads with the Boglin. Turn 2 we play Thalia, Guardian of Fairness. Our opponent plays a 2-mana Hyena Umbra and offers the trade. That trade being Thalia for the Umbra, as they both have first strike but the Boglin has totem armor, which means he would survive if we block with Thalia. I decide that I can take 2 damage here and take it on the chin. Thalia is just too valuable, not only as a first striking blocker but also for messing with his mana. We make a Mirroring Crusader and get in with Thalia, taking our opponent to 13. A double striking 2-2 with protection from green is going to be very good against Boglins. Our opponent plays a Rancor, doesn't make a land drop, and rather embarrassingly for an aggro deck, fails to turn its creature sideways for fear of losing out in combat. Again, our block would leave him with a Boggle, but he would lose his totem armor and we would not lose our Mirroring Crusader because he has protection from green. We untap, take Val up to 3 and cast a Blade Splicer. We go to combat and swing with Thalia. The Bogles player decides that trading his totem armor for Thalia here is worth it, as it would allow him to perhaps cast 2 auras next turn. Unfortunately for him, we aren't playing by the rules of conventional magic as he knows them. After the block, we activate Vial and Wisp off his first striking totem armor pants. This means that Thalia kills the Boglin with first strike, Rancor triggers and goes back to his hand, and then rather hilariously, Hyena Umbra comes back into play at the end of the turn, but because it's another creature, it has to go on one of our creatures, almost like a medal for first place in this tricksy bullshit. Our opponent laughs about it and bestows his honour upon our flickery boy. Well done, kid. You did good. He plays one more Boggle, goes to end step and concedes. Success in one of the most Death and Taxes way possible, fucking with him with a Flickerwisp. In round 2 we keep a very average hand of Vial, Hierarch, Thalia and a bunch of lands. I think it's a suspect keep, but I can't mulligan to 5 every game, even if MTGO Shuffler wants me to. We lead Razor Verge into Aether Vial, and in our thoughts he takes our Thalia, which means we now have literally no gas. Then we draw a Blade Splicer and suddenly have more gas. Splicer rarely disappoints. We play the Garden tapped and pass back. A fetch down into Bob sets up our Jund opponent for the long game grind. This game is the moment of truth. Can we outgrind Blood Braid Elf Jund, or are we a dog to it and need to find a different deck for now? We end step make a Noble. We draw another land and offer our Noble up for a trade with the Bob. Of course, he does not take that offer, and we cast Blade Splicer. Bob, the Hand Builder, builds a hand by finding a second copy of Bob, the Hand Builder. Our opponent plays his best card in this matchup, Liliana the Last Hope, and we are in trouble. He upticks Liliana and kills Splicer. We draw Eternal Witness right on time and swing our 4/4 golem at Liliana. He saves her with his Bob, and we hard cast Eternal Witness to get our Splicer back. Value. Last Hope kills Eternal Witness, and we see our opponent deploy the second Bob that we know about. End of turn, we flash in Blade Splicer off of our Vial to build our board presence, which feels good. We draw more lands, feels bad. However, Ghost Quarter does line up very well with this Treetop Village if and when we need to take it out. We swing at Liliana and keep her in check. Bob blocks 1 and she takes 3. Liliana kills our beloved Splicer for a second time, and our opponent Maelstrom pulses our golems. Sure must be nice to have the exact answers required for the present board state. Like this vid if you cry every time. We draw another land. Fuck's sake. We attack Liliana for 1. This is as much about sending a message as it is to keeping her in check. So take that, you shit. He untaps Last Hope's our Noble to death and passes back with 3 cards in hand and all the mana in the world. We draw another Eternal Witness, which feels good. We cast Witness and get our other Witness back, and then cast that, getting our Splicer back. Value. We don't make the Splicer right away, of course, and hold it up in our Vial. Lily kills a Witness, and we make the Splicer in end step. This will mark the 3rd time that we've put this particular Splicer into play. We draw Eldrazi Displacer, which is absolutely solid here. He can block our Golem with Treetop to protect Liliana, but the first draft of the Golem will kill the village and keep our Golem alive unless he has removal, which we can blank when he fires out our Splicer with Displacer. We can Vol him in and activate him, targeting either Blade Splicer or Eternal Witness, whichever we need to do to get the best line of value. So we swing. He fires up Treetop and blocks. Bolt fires at our Splicer as we thought, so we Vol in Displacer and look to save our Splicer. Whilst this leaves either Ewit or Splicer open to being killed by Last Hope next turn, the value is too high not to make this play. After the activation, we see a second copy of Lightning Bolt, which we hadn't considered, which, whilst a shame, does feel good still as Displacer survives and makes an ETB effect creature drawn off the top very, very good. So the Splicer does die, but he trades himself for 2 copies of Lightning Bolt, and then our Treetop and Golem also die. In his turn, Lily kills Eternal Witness, of course. We get in with Displacer and knock Lily to 3. Our second copy of Varl can sit in hand and bluff something not shit. It managed to lure out an Inquisition from our opponent. He deploys a Goyf and upticks Lily on Displacer. We use Displacer to tap the Goyf and end step. We draw and play a Scavenging Ooze and attack Liliana for 1 damage. Our opponent decides to cast Liliana in for her -2 to grab another body. We eat both of the Bobs in the graveyard with the Scoos prior to letting the Liliana activation resolve, leaving enough mana still open to either displace a creature or shrink Goyf by eating the Planeswalker and or Aether Vial in the graveyard. Liliana's ability resolves, mills no creatures, nets no value, and our opponent concedes. Look like he has seen enough of this value train.
Release the brainstorm to make your motherfucking brain warm. A strange form, something kind of lyrical. Biggie the bastard, so that's kind of spiritual. Well, in God we trust, guns out.
We keep a solid hand of kill spells and brutal value 3-drops that Jund struggles to deal with. He leads with a tap land, which is interesting as it shows no hand disruption available. We lead planes in case we want to end of turn path a Bob or similar, but another tap land from our opponent and no creature is pretty telling of a weak hand. We play a shock land tapped and he plays a 0-1 and misses a land drop. Now, whilst I had kept this mana up for pathing a creature, I don't want to unlock his hand by helping him find a swamp here, so I decided against pathing this creature for mana efficiency as it's providing literally no pressure at this stage. We untap and make a Blade Splicer. The 2 bodies are very hard for Jund to deal with outside of just K command or Damnation. He untaps, finds no 3rd land again and concedes. I can only assume he was tilted after losing game 1 in spite of the active Liliana the Last Hope. GG, I'm sorry, Jund. E. We come to our final round of today's video and we mulligan to 5 again and keep a hand that might just go nowhere if they kill our Dork. We scry the Lord to the top of our deck and pray to him. We lead with Noble, they lead with Urza's Power Plant. Interesting. We deploy Leonin Arbiter and get in for 1 damage, ready to field or ruin our opponent if we hit our land drop next turn. An opponent is a fan of the channel and curses the Lord and Saviour because he realises how good he is right here. Weirdly, I believe this is a sign of respect, even if it just doesn't seem like that at first. He plays a Tower and a Chalice on 1, which blanks Aether Vials, Noble Hierarchs, and Path to Exiles in our deck. If he natural Trons against a hand of 5, I might just do a little poop in anger, but there's not a lot we can do about that, so we can't really play around the natural Tron here. In our turn, we draw another Wisp. We attack for 3 with Exalted Cat and need to make a decision. If we field a Ruin here, we guarantee taking off Tron for at least another turn, but that strands our Collected Company in our hand as we won't get to search either. However, if we chain these Flickerwisps, we can take him off a land and Tron for the next turn or 2. We decide to give him a window to naturally Tron us and play the Wisp, resetting his Chalice to enable our Path to Exiles later. I'm assuming at this point he's Eldrazi Tron, by the way, because the normal Tron variants don't tend to run Chalice. The Chalice is running Eldrazi Tron to give them an option to stop pushes and bolts and paths from helping to kill their precious Eldrazi. If he has natural Tron and a payoff and we mulligan to 5, then this simply wasn't our day. We clench, we move into 5p territory, and he plays a Seagate Wreckage. Thank you, magic gods. He plays a Matter Reshaper. We untap and draw another Wisp, and we understand the message sent on from on high here. Sometimes you just have to give it a flick of the Wisp. We swing for 4 Exalted in the air, then cast Flickerwisp, wisping out our Flickerwisp until end of turn. When it comes back, it steals his tower for a whole turn, reducing his mana and avoiding Tron for yet another turn. He plays a Wastes. Matter Reshaper attacks and we just ignore it. There's no way in hell we take a trade here, as it might land him another Tron land. We untap and get in with the team before a flick of the Wisp takes his tower again. He untaps, draws a card and concedes. GG Wispy.
Look at the flicker there is. Look at the flicker there is. Look at the flicker there is.
We keep an alright to good hand. It's missing a Ghost Quarter or a 3rd land to really make it good. He starts off with a map, and we start with a much better 1-mana artifact with Aether Vial. He plays a second power plant, which means we're out of the woods for a turn 3 Tron. We cast the Jesus, and he responds by grabbing a Tron land with his map. Clever boy. He plays the tower and does little else, suggesting either a hand of Tron payoffs or interaction like Warping Well and Dismember. We attack for 2 and reset the Arbiter with Flickerwisp. Whilst Wisping into the battlefield creatures is very good, and we could have saved the Wisp for that fact, we also need a clock when staring down a potential Tron. We have to put pressure on, otherwise we will just die to a Tron threat. And there it is. Brace yourself. Tron is online.
Nuclear launch detected.
Ugin comes down, and we have a moment where he could downtick and exile our board. He gets greedy, looking to uptick him to blow away the Jesus. We vial in Selfless Spirit and use it to protect Leonin Arbiter, and we feel fucking great. We attack Ugin for 5 and get ready for next turn for him to downtick and exile our board. And we get ready to Coco and Blade Splicer next turn in order to make a board presence so wide it would need apple bottom jeans and boots with a fur for a night out. Thick board state, kids. All this club is looking at her. He smashes us, pow, right in the kisser. Ugin ticks down, good night, sweet princes. After this, still in the main phase, we activate Aether Vial to make a Blade Splicer. We then Coco. If we hit a Wisp in this Coco, it will reset Splicer on end step, meaning we untap with the extra Golem and the extra power. But nope, instead we whiffed completely because Magic fucking hates me. Even our opponent admits how rough that seems. Splicer and friend give Ugin a spit roasting, although technically Blade Splicer couldn't do that without a strap on, as she's a she. Interesting. Smasher takes us to 6 and he deploys Ugin number 2. Fuck me, come on, give me a break. Eugene bolts our face down to 3, meaning that I'm almost certainly dead to Ugin next turn. We cast Aven Mind Center in the end step to give us more pressure on another body. Often when I'm considering my lines in the next turn and my outs, the answer is almost always instant speed Flickerwisp. With Vial on 3, a Wisp would be perfect to allow us to take Ugin out for a turn and allow us to try and race this nonsense. Ideally, we might need 2 Wisps depending on whether he keeps the smash back on blocks. We untap and almost draw a Wisp. Instead we draw Eternal Witness, which is a regrown collected company with a body, which isn't terrible. We get in but leave ourselves a blocker that can help us survive against a Smasher attack. We decide that we are just dead to a 3rd Ugin, Walking Ballista, or even a 2nd Smasher here. We have to play to our outs and we have to play to win. We get in for a whopping 3 damage and then we vial in Ewit and get company back. So we main phased the company earlier in this round to maximise the number of potential bodies to untap with. Here we're just digging for a specific answer for Ugin, and that answer is a Flickerwisp, so we have to do it on end step to allow our potential Wisp to take Ugin out for a turn. We spin the wheel, clench our bum holes, cross our fingers and pray to the gods of worth. Bingo! We hit the Wisp. Collected Company rewards you for playing to your outs and knowing when to cast it, and it allows you to find those outs easier as long as they are creatures with CMC lower than 3. We flicker out Ugin for a whole turn, which means we don't die. More so than that, it means we can actually potentially win. This board stage screams for a Gavany Township, but any card enables our path next turn to deal with the Smasher. He swings, we block with a 3-3 and take some trampling damage and go to 1. Ugin returns an end step on a starting loyalty of 7, but of course cannot be activated because this is the end step. We are again dead to many top decks. We swing in and kill Ugin for Xaxes, we path discarding the Ghost Quarter that we've drawn, and then he plays nothing. We have a turn where he plays nothing. We swing for 5 in the air, but set up a position where we aren't dead now to a Smasher, but still are to Ugin, Ulamog, or Machine Gun Bastard Ballista. He untaps and casts an Endbringer. We are out of the woods, bumholes unclenched, sphincters relaxed. But not too relaxed, obviously. Some people do criticise me saying my humour is too banal and childish, but you know what I have to say to those people? Thought jokes. We untap and swing for lethal. He blocks vainly, but dies.
What a lad.
I hope you enjoyed these games. They were fun and exciting enough to warrant making it into a video. Let me know what your thoughts on the video and the deck list are. Anything you would have done differently or changed. I seem to be going 3-1 a lot in either comp or friendly rooms, and these are just 3 of the most fun games amongst my last 3 or 4 leagues. If you have a different deck idea, a list, or archetype you want to see me cover next week or on stream, then leave it in the comment section below. In the meantime, don't forget to like the video as it helps me a lot. Subscribe and hit the little bell icon if you want to know when I go live or you want notifications when I upload stuff. Because otherwise YouTube probably just won't tell you because it's shit. If you want to support the channel, then don't forget you can support through Patreon with the link in the description below. I'll also be drinking and drafting Modern Cube on stream on Saturday the 7th of April at 6 PM BST in order to celebrate becoming an affiliate over on Twitch. And I'll also be streaming in some modern D&T leagues on Monday the 9th at 7 PM BST. In the meantime, I will leave you with a pearl of wisdom from everyone's second favourite civilization leader.
When polishing an helmet, BEK refule note tout comme Inuronai.
Ha, charming.